Hello.
Hello.
How'd your day go?
Very busy, but it was great. Thanks for
Good.
asking. Yeah. How was your day?
My day was very, well, confusing.
Confusing. Why?
Yeah. They had
Okay.
six loads. They had six loads on my for me to do on my computer on my truck,
Uh-huh.
and I wound up only doing three.
Oh, okay.
The other three loads weren't even supposed to be on there. So I called my dispatch like 5 times to figure out what loads I'm supposed to do.
That's
So he got those on his
crazy.
computer. That is crazy.
Yeah.
But I had fun. I had
Good.
fun.
Good.
I have fun at every place I go.
Well, that's even better. Good for you.
Did you make $1 million today?
No, I don't think so.
No, I didn't either.
All right.
I tried.
Yeah, I
Didn't
bet
work
you
though.
did. I bet you did. So, you had mentioned before that you thought about what we were talking about last night and had come up with a couple of things.
Well, I came up with one thing so far. It's control.
Control.
Yeah. Because where my life was out of control and I lost control of everything in my life,
Mm-hmm.
I think that something that I was after was something that I could control.
What about a girl Molly's age would give you that sense of control?
I, Molly, I'm still trying to figure that out.
Okay. So what are you talking about then when you say control? What are you referring to?
Well, okay. See how I was talking in the chat? Like I was making all the decisions of what to do
When you were talking
and
to
everything.
Kayla?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was my way of being able to have control. Like
Okay.
I had where I lost control of everything in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking for some kind of control back.
Okay. So that's why you would have reached out to Kayla and Disney Girl and all those people?
Yeah.
Okay. So what about Kayla was giving you a sense of control?
I guess because she was young
Okay.
and I knew that I'd have to control things. I'd have to control everything that happened, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I can come up with so far.
Okay.
But it's the only thing that makes sense to me right now because of where I lost control of everything in my life. It's like
Okay.
I lost control of my business, the way my business was going, the way the people that were working for me, the way that they were working for me,
Mm-hmm.
the way that my family was treating me. Literally lost control of everything. And that's, I mean, even to the point where I lost control of myself and didn't know, just going out and getting drunk all the time and going to the karaoke bar all the time. And even when I had very little money to go, I wasn't thinking about anything else. I wasn't really caring about anything else. I was really out of control. It's like I didn't have control of anything. I was trying to get control back of something.
Okay.
That's the only thing that makes sense to me right now of why I would do that.
Well, I can see
Yeah.
how somebody like Kayla would be attractive in that sense because she didn't know any better. She didn't know that your life was out of control. She didn't know that you were broke. She didn't know that you didn't have anything. She didn't know what already had happened in order for you to get to Nashville, the mess that was waiting for you up in Maine.
Right.
She didn't know all of that. She didn't know what it meant to have an alcohol problem.
See, I think
So,
some of the blind stuff, of her being blind to everything, I think that helped me to continue going forward, and
what does that mean?
to where she didn't know anything about me. No,
Okay.
with all the stuff that you just listed, she was blind to all that. So I think with her being blind to all that, it made me less ashamed
Okay.
because she didn't have that knowledge.
Okay.
And she really wasn't old enough to have that knowledge.
No, she wasn't. She didn't have any real world experience. She never had
Yeah.
a job before. She didn't know, so when you had said something like, isn't it going to be better now that I quit my job?
Yeah, and that didn't make any sense.
No, most people would say, it's not better that you quit your job. Why did you quit your job? What happened? What are you going to do now? People would
Yeah.
think about, what are you going to do for bills? How are you going to pay your rent?
Yeah, it was a messed up thing. It was a really messed up thing. And I didn't have a job lined up.
Mm-hmm.
That's how out of control it was. I just stupid.
When it came to Kayla, and she was vulnerable, she was young, naive, she wouldn't have known that, someone like you was a big mess, like we said a couple minutes ago.
Right.
Whereas an adult woman would probably have a lot more to say about that.
Yeah, and like I said, that's why I think I felt less ashamed, and it helped me to continue going.
So I wonder why you wouldn't have worked on fixing your life rather than targeting a child so that you could feel like you had some kind of power.
Because I think at that time depression had set in, and my life was just. I don't know. I think I got to think about this because I thought about it. I've thought about it before. Trying to make sense out of it.
Okay, so what were you thinking about?
Because where I knew I was depressed was even, it was actually before I knew what depression was.
Mm-hmm.
After when I was having it explained to me, they told me that you can tell when a person starts getting depression, and they started listening off all these things that I had already done. They started giving things away. I gave three truckloads of tools away, and I'd give money away, and that all has to do with depression. But can't understand how it. I guess I don't understand how depression really works because it just doesn't make sense to just do that stuff.
There's an element there too where you had mentioned how much you idolized everyone, and giving stuff away and giving away money and buying people things can sometimes be your way of trying to get them to idolize you. Just like when it came to your brothers and your sister, when you were doing things for them, like when you talk about in your video that you fixed your sister's house and you gave her money for Christmas, and then you did stuff for your brother that normally people would have to pay a lot of money for. And you were doing that as a way of getting them to like you in the same way that you idolized them. So I don't necessarily know that giving stuff away and that type of thing, what you were up to, was necessarily tied to depression in the clinical sense of depression. It could be that you were throwing yourself under the bus in a way of getting people to like you.
Well, see, that's when my sister thought and my brother thought that I was doing that stuff to get them to like me.
Mm-hmm.
And I already knew that they loved me.
They loved you because of the fact that you're family, but
Okay.
they didn't look up to you the way that you looked up to them.
Okay, let me explain my mom's side of the family. Is they did things for each other all the time without expecting things in return and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, like when Mom and Dale met, we used to live in this house in Cornville, this little house down the road here. Actually, I think I can send you a picture of it. But we used to live in that little house, and when Mom and Dale met, there was no foundation underneath the house. The septic wasn't working. I can't remember if there was a well and we had to carry water or something like that. But Dale had fixed everything up on the house. He put a foundation under it. He fixed the septic, fixed the well, did all that. And my uncles came over, and they all helped to get it done. And none of them asked for any money to get paid doing it. And that's how it was with my uncles all through my growing up years. I mean, right up till they started passing away. They just do things for each other without expecting anything back. And that's the way I always learned it with family. Do things for each other and don't expect things back. And that's why the macaroni and cheese came in, the deviled eggs came in, the meatballs came in, because I didn't want them to think that I wanted anything big back from them. After I did all the stuff that I did for them.
Well, nothing big back, but you wanted something back.
Yeah, but my purpose of wanting something back was to make sure that they didn't try to give me something expensive or big, so they wouldn't have to think they'd have to go out and spend money. But see, they took it the other way around. That I was expecting something back.
So you're telling me that you weren't expecting anything back?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't
Okay.
expecting anything back, but I wanted to make sure that they didn't go out and buy something expensive.
Right.
That they couldn't afford. So that's why I was just trying to let them know, I'd be happy with just macaroni and cheese or deviled eggs or meatballs.
Right, but you did expect those things.
But I expected that they would love me enough so that and be grateful enough for what I did, that they would do that for me,
Mm-hmm.
just to show their appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
And when they didn't, that's what really crushed me.
Right, so you were expecting something back. That's what the point is.
Yeah, I guess I was just so that I know that they appreciated it. I didn't really think about that until you just said it a second time.
Well, you were blaming them for a lot of things. You were blaming them for the downfall of your life. And you were saying people used me all the time. And they were prime examples.
Yeah. It was upsetting to have someone that you idolize come at you just for to get money.
I guess the point is that you idolized them growing up.
Yeah.
And you wanted them to idolize you somehow. Because at that point, you had something that they needed, which was money to fix up their homes or whatever. So you had the power and the control in that situation. You were able to give it to them. And I'm sure that they were grateful in whatever way that they expressed it. If they just said, hey, thanks, and walked away, and then that was it, then that was it.
Maybe I just had a hard time accepting that.
Accepting what? Them saying just thank you and that was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I never really thought about it like that.
Well, think about it, because when you were just explaining your family and how people did things for each other without expecting anything in return, we've sort of uncovered that there was the expectation of something in return.
Yeah. All these years, I've never even thought about that. Oh, God.
There's nothing wrong with wanting to be appreciated. I mean, I think that if I were to do something for someone and they didn't even acknowledge with a thank you, that would hurt my feelings.
Well, I guess it's still upsetting to me because of the fact that I was expecting something. You know, all this time saying that I wasn't expecting anything when I really was, and that I made them look bad because of all the stories that I say when I really was expecting something from them.
Right. And then you were also blaming them for the reason why you had to leave Maine.
Yeah. Well, the reason I left Maine is because I couldn't take it anymore. What they did to me at Betty's, that really messed me up. A couple jobs before that too, that they started doing the same type of thing. And I was trying so hard to get them coming to work. It's like Mom I even had to call Mom one time to go over and wake Tony up. Tony had gotten dunked the night before. Mom went over and woke him up. Told him that he needed to go to work. And that's how bad things were getting. It really sucked in not having a reliable crew.
I mean, obviously your hiring wasn't the best. You were hiring your friends and your family, and sometimes that doesn't turn out well.
It didn't turn out well for me. I definitely should have gone out of the family for that one.
Well, the unfortunate thing, too, is that not only were things happening with you, but they were passed along to other people so that they then had a burden to bear for the shit that you were feeling.
Yeah, I know you're talking about Betty.
Yeah, I'm talking about Betty.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I put a strain on her.
Huge.
And then I was so ashamed then that ashamed to even show my face. Of course, Tony and Paul just went about their shit like nothing. Like there's no problem to them.
Well, technically, it wasn't their problem.
No, it was mine.
It was your problem. It was total mismanagement of the project.
Yeah.
Total mismanagement of money. Horrendous hiring of people who weren't qualified.
Yeah, first they weren't even qualified to show up.
Well, I mean, and that's when, as a business owner, someone who has a responsibility for completing a job, that's when it's your responsibility to step in and get the job done. You can't sit back and say, well, they didn't show up today. Oh, well, they're pieces of shit.
Yeah, no.
And then, unfortunately for Betty, she became responsible for that because she already paid you.
I could go back and do it all over again. Do things differently if I'd known then what I know now.
That's an impossible thing to do. So the only thing that you can do is move forward and do the right thing.
And that's what I'm trying to do. I don't want to do the wrong thing. I want to make things right with Betty. I hate that it's taking me so long to get my head straightened out a little bit. I hate that it's taking so long for me to get Tony out of my life. What'd you think of Tony? I don't know if I need to ask that. I know what you thought of him.
I don't have a high opinion of Tony.
Yeah,
I don't care that he sits around and he doesn't do anything and he just has people come and bring him beer. I mean, who cares? I mean, he's not somebody that I would associate with. The way he fucking sounded last night, I wouldn't speak to him for more than 5 seconds.
He's losing more and more friends all the time.
Okay, well, good for him. And then he also referred to me as a young cunt. So what the fuck is that?
I don't think he was referring to you because I don't think I've ever mentioned you to him.
You probably have. Yesterday you said you didn't talk about me to Mom either, but you have. And
Well,
then
yeah.
after a little bit of questioning, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember now. So you've obviously spoken to him too.
Maybe I have. I don't remember at the phone. I'm wondering if he was talking about when he was down in Florida.
Did he know that I was on the phone?
No, he didn't know. I didn't know you weren't on the phone. I thought you were on the phone.
Well, the thing is that you know how to do a three-way call, and you fucked up a lot.
Well, when it came to three-way, I didn't realize that it said in call on one of them, on two of them, and then it said Tony's name down the bottom, the farmer on hold. But I could hear Tony's voice. I was like, okay, well, in call must be Debbie on the other line. So it did that twice, and that's where I thought you were on the line. And that last time, it read three-way call. I was like, oh, I thought shoot, it was on the line. It's in call instead of three-way call. That was an honest mistake. There was nothing dishonest about that. I'm not gonna lie to you about that.
Do you know what I do when you say I'm not going to lie to you?
Well, don't tell me you roll your eyes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm seriously not gonna lie to you about it. That's exactly what happened. I had almost given you Tony's number for you to call him because the way my phone works, I have to keep pressing the button to get it over. And when it read Tony's name down the bottom, the farmer on hold, and I had you on in call, that's where I thought you were there. I'm not lying to you about that.
Okay, whatever you say.
You don't believe me now. Oh, shoot. Well, I'm not lying to you about it, so I don't feel guilty about that. That was an honest mistake.
All right. All right, so you were talking about the control thing and why you think that may have attracted you to wanting to victimize Kayla.
Yeah, because she was young and I could control her. I could control everything that was happening.
Okay.
Because everything in my life was out of control. So when I was thinking about it, I was thinking about it really hard when I was driving this morning, trying to figure it all out. And just thinking back on all the control that I lost in my own life, from my business, and the way the family was reacting to me, and the drinking. I'd never been that out of control with everything. And the more I thought about it, especially when it came to Betty's job, it's like everything was just completely gone. I had no control over anything. That's where I realized, that's got to be a huge thing, because I was looking for control for something. Nothing that about me was in control.
Okay, well, what about your decision to move to Nashville? That was your decision.
It was my decision, but I kept fluctuating my mind on going back to Washington or going to Nashville.
Right, but you ended up in Nashville.
Yeah.
So that would be, in a sense, I suppose, even though it's the coward way of doing things, it was your way of taking back control and saying, I'm going to run away from my problems and I'm going to go to Nashville. So that's what you did. You got an apartment, you got a job, and then, that to me would be like, I'm starting over.
I think that's exactly what it was. I wanted to start over and not where I didn't know anybody.
Right.
So that nobody could come to me to use me.
Well, if your pattern is that you have low self-esteem and you allow people to use you so that they like you, then that was going to happen anyway.
Yeah, but at the time, I wasn't thinking that.
Okay. So if moving to Nashville was your way of trying to take back control of your life, get away from having to see people every single day that you felt like were using you, then where does Kayla come in at that point? Because you had already gotten away from the stuff that was making you feel out of control in the sense of people using you and taking advantage of you. So now you're in Nashville, you sit down at your computer, you go into the chat room, and you see Kayla. What happens then?
I think that's where I felt like I might be able to get some control back. So I didn't have control of everything in my life. Even though I made the decision to go to Nashville, I in my own apartment, I got a good job. I still didn't feel like I had control.
Mm-hmm.
And I get someone in control of something that I don't know. So I got to think about that more.
Yeah, I think that you do, because I'm not sure where I would get where all of this sexual stuff would come from.
I don't know either.
Because there are plenty of women who unfortunately would be easy to victimize. Women who have been in abusive relationships before, so they know what they're in for. But they're in an adult body.
Yeah.
So what was it about Kayla in the fact that she was not in an adult body? She hadn't really gone through puberty yet. What was exciting for you about that?
I don't know. I guess I got to think about it more.
Okay. And then the other thing that came up for me while you're talking about this is that this is Kayla. This isn't Molly, who was 3 or 4 years before Kayla.
So I got to think about that some more too. I know with Molly, there's thinking, trying to think back to them. With Molly, there's a lot of me being able to talk to her.
But you weren't talking to her, though, because I do remember you saying that you didn't really talk to her about your problems and things that were going on until she was older.
Yeah, because most of the time I listened to her problems.
Okay.
But as time went on, is when I started having problems.
Okay, but that was later on.
Yeah.
So when it first started, that's when your problem started. So that's what you need to understand.
You figure why I even talked to her. She was underage. So it's frustrating. So I don't want some answer just flying off my head and when I know it wouldn't be the right answer because I don't want to be fake about it.
No, I don't want you to be fake about it. I think that a lot of times when you ask yourself a question and the answer pops into your head, that's going to be the right answer. That's going to be the correct answer.
Yeah,
it may not be what you
so I
want.
talk to you and then you make me think more.
Well, but it may not be what you want. It may show a side of yourself you don't like. You know that other people aren't going to like. But if that's the answer, then that's the answer. And then you go from there. You don't try to say, well, I don't like that answer, so I'm going to push it aside and I'm going to get something that sounds a little bit better.
Well, that's not what I'm trying to do, though. I want to know for a fact what the answer is. I don't want to. I don't want to think of myself that way. There's so much truth in that; it's unreal. I don't like thinking of myself being like that. I don't want to think of myself in that way. I don't want other people thinking of me that way. But I mean, so many people do it now. Sad. But
why is that sad?
Because Well, it's not sad because they have every right to that.
Yeah, it's not sad.
I guess it just bothers me.
I'm sure that it does.
No end.
I'm sure that it does. But it didn't bother you when you exposed yourself to Molly.
No.
So that's the problem.
Just wanting to figure out what was going on with me, so I allowed myself to do that.
Well, I've always felt that there's two things at play. There's what's going on inside of your head, and then there are the things that happen outside of you, the actions that you take. So if you were feeling a sexual attraction to teenage girls, that can all be inside of your head. No one can stop it. But what the important piece of that is that you don't act upon it.
Yeah, and I was acting on it.
Right. You were acting on it. That's where your problem is.
When I knew that it was something I shouldn't be acting on, I want to figure out why I did.
Because you wanted to when you didn't think you were going to get caught.
Oh, yeah.
So there's your answer. It's very simple, Lorne.
I wish I could say it was that simple. But it's like, that's the answer.
Right. So why are you trying to make it so complicated? Like you have to reach this point of enlightenment in order to come up with this answer from the universe that is so profound that you just can't see it right now. Come back to reality and allow yourself to acknowledge the ugly answer.
But I want to understand it. I want to understand why I allowed myself to do it.
I just told you why.
Why I know that.
Why? Okay. So why is that difficult for you to come to terms with? Why?
Because I still want to understand it. Because I knew not to do it.
Right, but you didn't think you were going to get caught. Period.
That I know. I know that's the answer. It's so hard for me to explain this.
I need you to try because I don't understand why you're making this so complicated.
I'm not making it complicated.
You're trying to, though.
For me to understand.
Okay, but you're trying to because when I tell you what the answer is, I'm telling you the truth, and it's obvious that you wanted to do it. You didn't think you were going to get caught. Therefore, you followed through with particular actions.
Right, but that's the answer for everybody else.
Why is that not your answer? Why?
Because that's my answer too. But my problem is I want to figure out why I allowed myself to do it. Why I allowed myself to think that. Does that make more sense?
Because you're selfish.
No, I want to understand that. I want to understand why I did that.
You're selfish.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that was part of it.
It's a big part of it.
Yeah, it was a big part of it.
You were selfish, and you didn't think that you were going to get caught. The reason why you haven't paid Betty back is because she can't force you to. So you didn't want to. And therefore, you haven't.
I'm sending her more money again next week.
But that's not the point that I'm making, and I think that's great. I hope you continue to do that. But I'm saying the reason you haven't all of this time is because you didn't want to.
Yeah, I know. Well, not because I wanted to. I haven't had all the money there to do it.
You have had the money. You have. You know that.
But
we
you know
talked about it before. It wasn't the bills. Do you have a bill for beer to go over Tony's? No.
No.
Those are your choices. Do you have a bill for the auction? No.
No. So I know what you're saying. So I was doing all that extra stuff that I could have just said, I need to spend it.
Right. And you have a $600 payment for your car.
Yeah.
You smoke like a chimney.
I am really trying to quit.
I'm not, listen, I don't
I
care.
really am.
I really don't give a shit. Honestly, I don't. I don't care.
Do.
The point is, Lorne, is that you have had the money. You didn't want to spend it on her. You didn't want to give it back. There wasn't some kind of an outside influence forcing you to do that, whether it was through a lawsuit or
I was being selfish.
somebody being, strong arming you to do that.
I was being selfish.
Right. You were being selfish.
Sucks.
I know. I'm sure it sucks to be an asshole. But what you have to do is you have to confront that. And you're going to decide whether or not you want to be a better person. And you have to admit that you've been a fucking prick all of these years. You fucked over Betty big time. You fucked over Molly. You fucked over Melissa. You fucked over everyone.
Yeah, I know. I admit it too.
You're not admitting it. I'm telling you.
Well, I know. I'm telling you, you're right. I've been a fucking prick. Been a selfish prick. No, I don't like it.
Do you not like it because you're being called out for it right now?
No, I don't like it. I don't like being like that.
Then why haven't you stopped yourself? Why didn't you stop 12 years ago? Why didn't you draw the line in the sand and say, oh my God, I have done the worst thing. Look what I just did. I'm so ashamed of myself. I have to make it right. There was no line in the sand. There was nothing. There was nothing bringing you back. There was nothing that was going to make you be a good person until you were forced to stop and go to prison.
12 years ago, I didn't have the right frame of mind to understand what I was doing, what I had done.
And then when you got out of prison, you still didn't have it. You still didn't have it until you just started sending money to Betty because you were being pushed to do it. You were being guilted into doing it. You didn't feel that guilt on your own.
I'm understanding it more. Before I wasn't even trying to understand it. Well, I became so selfish.
Looking out for number one. And then pointing at everyone else and saying, well, you're selfish too.
Yeah, I know I've done that.
Pointing at Tony and your brothers at the job site and saying, look at these fucking guys.
I don't like being selfish. Ashamed of it.
Why are you ashamed of it?
Because all this time I thought that I had done things before that made me not selfish. To think of other people, then I stop and think about everything. When you list things off like that, it makes me realize it's exactly how selfish I was. I hurt people by being selfish.
You hurt a lot of people by being selfish and by being a coward.
Yeah, I know.
Essentially by being a monster walking around in sheep's clothing. I'll talk to you, sweetheart. I'm a nice guy.
Yeah, it was sad.
Anyway.
Why would you even talk to me with as much of an asshole as I've been?
Because I want to tell you all of this stuff.
Oh, that's the purpose.
Yeah, you need to hear it.
To let me know I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I don't blame you. I deserve it.
Yep, you do. So is there anything else that you thought about in relation to this stuff? You have some more admissions to do, I think.
Well, that's the only thing I thought about today. It's a control thing.
Okay. And you do know that that's predatory behavior, right?
Yeah, I know. That sucks. I fucking hate that.
So I really want you to think about the real reason why you were talking to Molly.
I will think about that one. I got to put some thought into that.
And don't make it something complicated, because it's not complicated. It isn't.
I know you think the answer is simple. That it should be simple for me.
It is.
It should be.
It is. What you're having difficulty with is admitting it.
No, you're right.
I know that I'm right.
Listen, little Miss Cocky. I can still think about stuff.
You can think about stuff. Of course you can, and you should. But I'm saying that when you are purely honest with yourself, the answer is there. You already know what it is. You don't want to admit it because you know what it means. You know what everyone thinks about what it means.
Do I hate thinking about it?
Why do you hate thinking about it?
So I do. I hate thinking about myself that way.
But you are that way. So in what other way are you supposed to think of yourself?
I'm not anymore.
You just haven't acted on it, Lorne.
I haven't acted because I'm not that way anymore.
All right, whatever you say.
I have a hard time even looking in the direction of underage people now.
Good.
You're really mad at me, aren't you?
Why would you think that I'm mad at you? And why does it matter?
Well, because it does matter to me.
Why would you think that I'm mad at you? Where did that come from?
Because the way you respond.
I'm not necessarily the most gentle person.
Gee, you could have fooled me.
Yeah. I mean, but you don't need gentle. That's where I think you go toward that. You want that because it makes things easier for you.
I think that's why I respond to you so well, because you're not gentle with me and you tell me on things and you make me think about things. I've gotten further understanding things more with you than I have with any of the counselors. I think that's what actually made it so that I was able to admit things that I wouldn't admit to before.
Like what? What are some of the things that you've admitted?
About Kayla, about that I was attracted to underage girl. I was attracted to the thoughts of having sex with an underage girl. Instead, I'm trying to figure out exactly why I let myself do it all the time when it's a simple answer. Well, everybody says it's a simple answer. But the reason I say it's not so simple for me is because I want to understand myself. And when I knew not to do it, why or how I could allow myself to do it.
Well, I pointed out why I think that you did.
Selfish.
Right.
And I agree with you.
Okay, so then what is beyond that? What is in addition to that that you feel tells the complete story?
I guess maybe how I became so selfish. I guess I could keep looking for answers constantly on everything. So
being selfish is just something in your personality.
Yeah, but I never used to be selfish like that.
What do you mean used to be?
And growing up, I'd go out and do things for people for nothing. Like during the wintertime, I'd go around and I'd shovel out elderly people's sidewalks or not sidewalks, but their pathways from the door to the garage or to the car, or and babysitting for a woman for 3 years, or son or two daughters, and and I stayed friends with them right up till the youngest one was 18.
Mm-hmm.
And with Mom, she's actually the one that told me she raised me growing up, so she wasn't selfish doing things.
Right.
Well, I guess somewhere along the way it became selfish. I'd like to know where it came from. I know it came from Dad. His dad was very selfish.
Well, your dad wasn't really around, and you're thinking of it as a genetic thing, that your dad was selfish because of the things he did, and so that makes it so that you could be selfish too.
That's what I was thinking. That's not the answer.
No.
You don't think that might be part of it, though? That maybe part of it was in my blood and that could come out?
No, I don't think selfishness is a genetic trait.
I don't know where it came from then. Maybe it was from being around Tony and Paul and Lori and Ralph.
Well, I hope you know that it's not their fault, and I hope that's not what you're trying to do.
No, I'm not trying to pass the blame. I'm just trying to figure out where I came to think that it was okay to be selfish like that.
Well, selfishness in itself, for the person who's selfish is going to think that it's okay. So it's not that you woke up one day and said, okay, I'm going to be selfish and that's okay. Being okay with it is inherent with being selfish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not okay to be selfish. I don't like being selfish. I don't like myself for being selfish all that time. Fucking people up in the process, including myself.
Well, I think everyone is selfish to a point.
Yeah, but my point went way too far.
Well, the point in it going too far is that it starts to hurt other people.
Yeah, and I've hurt a lot of people.
And that's what a predator does. They look for victims. They look for easy targets. And they don't care what the outcome is for the other person. That's how you're able to justify the things that you've done.
I really got to go back a ways in my life to figure out where I became selfish, because
I really don't think you're going to find that point, honestly. I don't think that that's going to be the answer to what's happening here. I don't think finding that out is going to determine what happens now or how you're going to feel about the things that you've done.
Right, but wouldn't it help me be able to watch for it? Watch out
Well,
for
no.
specific
No, I don't.
circumstances?
Well, no, because I think you know what those are. Going back and trying to pinpoint an event in your life where suddenly you became selfish is going to be pointless. And I don't think you're going to remember that.
See, I'm thinking all the way back to when I was in Washington State with Paul and Laura. And I wasn't selfish with the kids. Because I'd work all week and I'd go out and take just about my whole check, spend it on the kids' clothes and shit like that, doing things with the kids. But I know Paul and Laura were selfish. Before that, I was in the Air Force. I don't really remember being selfish there. And I know you said going back, I'm not really going to find the exact point when I became selfish. Even if I can find the area when I.
What is that going to tell you?
Selfish.
What will that teach you if you do that?
I don't know. It probably won't teach me anything other than to look out for.
What are you going to look out for? Or do you not know what being selfish means and what a selfish act looks like?
Well, yeah. I don't know. I just don't ever want to make the same mistake ever again. I don't want to ever lead me being to where my head is so out of control, like it was, and I want to keep myself in control.
So then be in control. What you're looking for is where someone taught you how to be selfish. That's what you're looking for.
That's what I'm looking for.
It's not going to help you. It's not going to help you. Because then what you're going to then do is try to make yourself a victim and say, well, Lori taught me how to be selfish because look at what she did. And that's where it all started. And my life went completely out of control.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
You're trying to blame other people for what's going on in the things that you have done in your life.
Yeah. That's not going to help me. There's no sense in looking back to try to find it. It might bother me, but there isn't any sense in looking back. It'd probably just irritate me more than anything anyway.
All it's doing is it's dragging out you trying to come up with some kind of an answer.
I think you're right, too. It was about trying to find somewhere to blame it on.
Yeah, you're trying to find someone to blame it on.
Yeah. That makes more sense. I've done a lot of finger pointing.
A lot of finger pointing.
See, I'm learning. I'm getting there. It fucking sucks. It takes this much just to learn about myself.
it's a really bad habit to try and constantly look for the external answer. Constantly. And that's how you're justifying the things that you do. Well, no one else does this. Everyone else is selfish too.
And I don't need to worry about everyone else. I just need to worry about me.
Right.
I can't control other people being selfish. I can only control me.
Right. And that's how it's always been.
You know, you've said that to me before.
I know. I've said a lot of stuff to you repeatedly.
Yeah, but you're the only one that's ever gotten it to sink in.
Well, hopefully it does
So
sink
that
in.
so that I can actually repeat it myself and understand it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because before it'd be like somebody would say a similar thing to me, but it wouldn't sink in enough for me to say, okay, I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't matter because if they're going to be selfish, then why can't I be selfish? If they're going to be selfish and everybody be all right with it, then why can't I? Well, the problem is I don't like being selfish, and I don't like to be thought of as being selfish.
Well, I think that's
And
the
I've heard a
real
lot of
answer, is
people
that you don't like being thought of as being selfish.
Yeah, well, and I don't like being selfish either.
But being selfish has served you.
I know it hasn't served me very well.
Well,
I
it
don't like
has.
screwing people over, and I've screwed people over.
But that's what I'm saying, is that it has served you because you were able to screw people over and you got what you wanted.
What I want is to fix things, make things right, so that I can actually be happy with myself.
Great. Fix things and make them right. So, like, you were trying to go backwards and trying to find this big answer of why you were taught to be selfish. Who did that to you? It's much more important for you to be clear and admitting the things that you've done instead of trying to cloud them in a way that makes you to be kind of a victim too.
Yeah, that's true. It's fucked up.
It's incredibly fucked up. It's the worst way to be.
It's fucking terrible.
Think about all the people that you have fucked over royally.
All from being selfish. That's fucking amazing. It sucks to have to think that I've been like that.
So now, is it easier for you to see?
It's a lot easier for me to see now. Why I didn't see it before is beyond me.
Because you were trying to make yourself a victim and you were trying to complicate the answer so that you could be one.
That's messed up. The right words coming out of your fucking mouth. That's sinking into me so easy. That is so fucked up. It's fucked up that it took me so long to fucking to understand this shit.
So then what now?
I can say that I feel better understanding it.
What do you understand?
Understanding why everything that I've done has been so fucked up, and why I've laid the blame on people.
Why has everything you've done been so fucked up?
Because I've been selfish.
So why did you talk to Molly?
Because I was selfish.
And?
I shouldn't know you to make me say this. And because I was attracted to an underage girl.
I want you to know that I'm not making you say anything. You saying these answers does not please me. I hope that you know that.
Well, I know it doesn't please you. It doesn't please me to say it.
Okay, but I'm saying...
I know you want me to say it so that I can admit it to myself.
You have to admit it to yourself, as long as it's a true admission. So is it a true admission that you talked to Molly because she was 15 years old and you liked that.
I don't know if I want to admit that right away, because I did like talking to Molly, but I don't know that it was because of her age, or because I get her and I get along.
Well, most people, I would have to say, if Molly approached them and said, I like your singing, they say, okay, thank you so much. Have a good night.
Yeah, I know. I didn't.
Okay.
I'm still thinking about it because of the fact that if Molly had been older, I think I would have reacted the same way.
But she wasn't older. So you didn't have
No.
you didn't have the opportunity to know an older Molly.
That's true.
Okay. So the fact that she was the age that she was and you talked to her at that moment, that's what you need to think about. Because again, most people would have walked away.
I almost think that I didn't walk away because I was so used to being around underage people because of all my nephews and nieces.
What does that
I didn't
mean
give them much thought.
exactly?
It means that I was used to being around them. I was used to talking to underage people because all my nephews and nieces were underage at the time. And maybe I didn't give them much thought to talking to them. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I can turn it around a little bit and say, what do you think about the teachers that have sex with their students?
Yeah, I wouldn't be very happy with them.
Well, I mean, it's sort of the same of what you're saying. They're used to being around teenagers or whatever age group. So does that make it so that you can see why they would lose their mind and not realize that they were talking to a kid? That doesn't make sense. You knew that you were talking to a kid.
Yeah, and I think back to when I let be on the computer and some guy started talking to her, and she pointed to me at what he was saying, and I got on there and looked. Thought I was fucking pissed.
Right.
And cried because somebody gets pissed about it.
Well, that's a shame because it wasn't her fault. And she
No, it
probably
wasn't
felt
her
like it
fault.
was.
Somebody get pissed, so she started crying and asked me to get off the computer. So I just shut the thing off.
Right. But the bottom line is that you talked to Molly and you wanted her to be your girlfriend.
Yeah. So it's point blank, it's because she was underage. I was attracted to an underage girl. But the thing about that, I can't beat around the bush and try to figure anything out, but that was the answer.
And that was the answer for all the other girls, too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
All right. Is there anything else?
Yeah, it was. You're going to rush to get off the phone tonight, huh?
I don't want to be on the phone all night.
Oh, I don't either. I'm tired.
Good.
I thought about something today.
Mm-hmm.
What made me think about it was when he was on the computer and it found that somebody, because of what Tony said last night about somebody selling T-shirts, my picture on them. I mentioned it to Winnie today. She was looking on the computer and she found a specific person that was selling stuff with my picture on, and you know that person, Jamie Amy. So Winnie called Jamie, and I was on mute. Jimmy kept denying it. And when he tried to tell her, you can't deny it because there's no way you can deny it because it's also on your YouTube channel that it's you. And she still tried to deny it. She's trying to make money off my name without my permission. So that gave me an idea.
What's your idea?
Why not start up a store, sell stuff with my picture on it, and give 100% of the profit to charities? Because Dan, when he also called Dan when I was on the phone too, and I talked to Dan a little bit.
Okay.
Dan said there's all kinds of stores on the internet that are selling things with my picture on. Why not start up a store and sell stuff with my picture on? Because I can't afford to go after everybody, so just start up a store and sell stuff with my picture on them and give 100% of the profits are charities.
Okay.
Doesn't that sound like a good idea?
Sure.
Then I thought about, I went a little bit further in my thinking, which is that message that I sent you. Just thought of another idea. When I said to that today, why not pick like 5 charities and get 20% to each one? And one of those charities be Chris Hansen's show, so he can go after predators, give him more money to go after predators.
Well, he's not a charity.
He's not a charity, but if we put some money into him being able to do more of these things, to back him up, help back him up some.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be a good idea?
If that's what you want to do.
Well, I'm trying to talk to you about it because I want to know that. What you think?
Yeah. I mean, go ahead and set it up. I don't see how it would hurt anything.
But in order to do this, I'm going to need help from you and Emma and Winnie.
Well, I don't have time for that. I'm not going to be able to set up a store and organize charities and all that kind of stuff.
What I need help from you would be the financial stuff, because you're the only one that I would trust for money to be in my name. It would be for you to handle the financials, of where the money's going.
Well, the money wouldn't be in your name anyway.
Right.
The store, it would have to be under a company, and then it would be distributed from there.
Okay. So, but somebody would have to write the check.
Yeah, but I'm not doing that.
You wouldn't do that?
No.
Well, the store would be under my name, because it would be my name on it. With my name on it, I want to make sure that I have somebody that I trust 100%.
Well, then maybe someone else can do that for you, like Dan.
I don't know Dan like I know you. I don't talk to Dan like I talk to you.
Well, what about Emma then?
I don't even talk to Emma like I do to you.
Okay, but maybe you can.
I don't want to give any information of mine out to anybody
Well,
else.
it's not going to go to your bank account. I can't do that. It has to be totally separate.
Okay, there would have to be a bank account somewhere.
Yeah, there would have to be a bank account somewhere.
Somebody has to be able to sign for that.
Right.
So there has to be a top-notch person.
What about Victor?
Yeah, okay, that's a good one. Yeah, that's going to happen. You're a funny girl.
Well, I think Dan would be a great option. I have a feeling that if you get him on the phone, he'll talk to you for hours about it.
I don't want anybody else but you.
Okay, well, I'm not going to do it.
I really wanted you to be a part of this.
I sort of was, because, I helped you work out the decision to get it going.
Yeah, but I kind of wanted you to be a bigger part of it.
I think the first thing that you can do is set up a checking account at the bank for Lorne Armstrong Charities, LLC.
Well, see, that's where the check writing thing comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody would have to be able to sign the checks.
Yeah, you can give Dan authorization.
Rather be you.
Okay, but I'm not gonna.
I know. I know you're saying you're not going to. Yes,
I mean, I think that if you do that, if you go to the bank, set up the account, get the checks that have the name on it, then you can file the paperwork to set up an LLC. Dan will help you do that too. And then you can actually set it up so that when people go online to order your t-shirts, the money can just be funneled into the different charities as they need to be.
And I have to think about the charities too.
Yeah, think about the charities.
One would be missing and exploited children.
Okay.
The other would be St. Jude's.
Okay.
I thought about another one being Cancer Center of America.
Okay.
Then one to Chris's show. We still need one more.
Okay. Well, you can think about it.
The ASPCA.
Okay. Great.
Thought about that one earlier today. So that would be the fifth one.
That's good.
Damn, I really wish you'd be part of this.
Yeah, I know.
Sucks. You're going to have your own business to get attend to too, huh?
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff. My own life is very busy. So I don't want to get wrapped up in this kind of stuff. That's why I'm saying Dan can help you. I promise you that you could have him on the phone for hours and hours talking about this.
What do you think about Emma?
I love Emma.
As far as if I let her handle the distribution of the money. Oh wait, you said I could set up it in the bank for it to go to the different charities, right?
I'm sure they would be able to do that. I mean, who knows if Emma even wants to be bothered with it.
No, I know. I have to talk to her first, see if she. I can't do it without you guys, without help.
Well, what about Tony?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, imagine that one.
Yeah,
$1
imagine
for
that one.
charity, 1 12-pack for me. Another $1 for charity, another 12-pack for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't have tons of intelligence.
No, he definitely doesn't. I probably wouldn't trust a hillbilly cunt-ass bitch like Tony to operate anything.
I wouldn't either. Ain't no way I'd let Tony operate any of that. He wouldn't have a clue to what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even steer you away from Molly.
I know. Yeah, she's not.
In fact, he joined you. Isn't that
He's
something?
He's not worth very much. That guy. Oh, crap.
I wonder if he ever tried to get with Molly behind your back. Did you ever think of that?
Tony? No.
Why?
Molly wouldn't have anything to do with Tony.
Why?
Because Tony's too ugly.
She had his number.
Yeah, she had his number. I don't know why she had his number. I think I gave it to her because I was going to be, because my cell phone didn't work or something. No, for some reason I gave her his number. He allowed it. He was all right with it. But
It's interesting.
yeah, I do know Tony, and I don't believe that Tony never tried to do anything with Molly. I know you think I'm just trying to stick up for him.
Not necessarily. I don't think you're just trying to stick up for him. I mean, but the point is that a normal person, just like with you, isn't going to be okay talking to a child. And the friend of that person, if they were going to be normal, would say absolutely no fucking way would he join you to go meet her.
Yeah, I know.
What is he, some kind of a pig?
Yeah, thinking about it now, I know exactly what you're saying. Thinking about it then, I just wouldn't have understood it. Wouldn't have mattered. Thinking about it now, it's terrible.
Why is that terrible?
Because Molly's underage. Or was underage.
But when it comes to Tony, what do you mean?
No, when it comes to Tony, I mean, it was terrible that he went along with me going there.
Mm-hmm.
That was fucked up.
He must have been interested too.
Huh?
He must have been interested too. Maybe that's why she was bringing a friend.
That I don't believe that, but
Why?
unless it was something I didn't know about. Unless it was something that I didn't know about. So, tell me, how much of an asshole do you really think I am?
Huge. I think you're a prick.
So why did you like me?
I didn't say that I liked you. I said I wanted to help you.
Like, you don't like me?
No.
You don't?
I think you've done a lot of shitbag things. I think you've fucked a lot of people over. I think you've done disgusting shit. I mean, I've told all of this to you before.
So all this time, you just pretending that you like me, you call me an asshole.
Okay, so here we're going to go again, where you do your song and dance about pretending. I have told you that I want to help you. I have told you I want you to see who you are. I want you to admit it so that you can stop hurting people around you. That's what I want for you.
Yeah, okay, you've gotten that. But what I'm saying is, from the beginning, you pretended like you liked me when you really didn't. You just wanted me to be able to see what an asshole I was.
Why are we doing this again? I had already explained to you that it was really harmless flirting. Harmless. I've never had somebody jump off the fucking deep end like you. And when I realized that you did, I pulled it way back and I didn't allow it to go any further. And I have been so clear with you. It's unbelievable that we would actually be having this conversation again. I have wanted to help you